Okay, hi, I'm Kara Kading, and this is my mom, Chris, and we are the Garden Girls here at Milligers. How excited we are for you to come to Milligers because this is the beginning of the real workshops.
Yeah, the workshops are starting and there's a boatload of them.
There's a boatload, but our most popular workshop is the Jumbo Hanging Basket Workshop. How many years have we been doing this?
Since the 80s.
Since the 80s,
All right,
right?
so
I was just a little baby.
This is,
So we're showing you this big basket right here. This is one that obviously we've been growing, but it's in that same size container so you can get a feel for it. We are offering, last year for the very first time, we offered 2 different sizes. And these are at 2 different price points. So we have the original fiber pot, and then we have the water saver pot right here.
the water saver pot. We had a tremendous increase in the cost of plastics this year. And so we have a $10 upcharge for this container. It does hold over 2 gallons of water. And some people were not quite aware that it would hold that much.
Yes,
and
so it's
they
like 2 gallons of water. Is it really 2?
Yeah, so
I thought it was 1.
You can overwater with this, so we want to make sure that you're sensitive to the fact that if it's really heavy, it still is holding water and doesn't need to be watered. That's the whole idea. If
For
you,
the weekend, it's a great
Yeah.
for like
if you're going
the
away,
weekend basket.
Yeah, yeah. So,
But this is great too. I mean, no, there's really no complaints here.
no, the fiber basket is amazing, and this is what we've been growing in. This is what we actually grow in both of these here at Milligers. So,
But I would recommend this. We have a lot of people who, with this, even though it's called the Jumbo Hanging Basket Workshop, they will take the hanger off and then just drop this in a container and have that instant gratification.
sure, they can put it on a tree stump, and we do have some elevated planters that are made out of iron, and they can just set it in there. As many of them are even prettier when viewed at eye level.
So when you come, okay, you can register on our website or at the registers, and we have several different time slots, which is why it's really important that you watch this video all the way to the end, take some good notes, and so that you can just come and start working on your basket. We don't want to teach this over and over and over and over.
So when you first get here, we will have a sold ticket that has your name on it. So that will be attached to your basket because the wires will be on the baskets when you come. Also, you will get a number like this, and let's say that you're number 800, whatever.
All the baskets are going to be hanging in numerical order.
So you just need to remove the little, this is like a claim check. So this is $8.25. Put this behind your driver's license. You need to put it in a safe spot so you can redeem your basket when you come to pick it up. Or take a picture of it with your phone.
We also have this handy binder, which is you're going to have to register before you leave. So this is going to have all your information as far as the date, the workshop that you came to, your last name, first name, phone number, and then all the baskets so that we can have it recorded here also. So God forbid, if you do lose your number, don't lose your number. But if you do, we don't have to look through 800 hanging baskets to try to find it. So this is a great way. And then when you come, you have to check off and register and that you actually picked up your basket. That's the other step. So we guard these baskets with our life, and we don't want them going home with anyone else but you. But that means it's really important for you to make sure that you've got your claim check and that we check you out in the binder.
Well, in terms of what your plant's material will be, it will be located in this Dutch greenhouse, and it's all right behind us here. And we have picked out by far the A plants, the plants that do the best in baskets. And we're going to do a quick review of that. And keep in mind that most of the baskets are half to full sun. That is by far your biggest selection of plants, and also the ones that trail the best. It's a little bit more difficult when we look at the shade plants. So when you are thinking about where you're going to position this, the most plants will get at least a half a day of sun wherever they're going. So those are still considered sun. And then the shade is almost exclusively shade. So you want to start, Kara, with...
Oh, let's talk about the joy of geraniums. So we have, these won't be actually in this greenhouse because they're right next door, because the whole entire greenhouse, we couldn't bring them in here because there's so many. And there's every color of the rainbow. So I'll bring this over to you so you can kind of see what they look like. But I love a geranium because I love their big flower sizes, the big flower heads. And you get a lot of variety here. So we have some that are the traditional geranium type. Some of these I think are like the calliopes, I feel are kind of a little bit in between an ivy and a regular type, so you'll find that those will trail a little bit. And then on this side we have all of the ivy types. So this is Sophie Cascade. This was named, well, my daughter was named after this geranium, okay, because I love it. The ivy types are a lot easier care as far as the fact that they don't need the deadheading as much as the regular ones. So they're great, especially hanging in places that you can't always deadhead. But we have some great red ones, beautiful white like this. But I do feel that geraniums don't necessarily play well with others. So it is not going to be good for you to just put this one geranium in your combination, because how many plants are they going to be getting in here?
Well, it's a total of 7. We call this a magnificent 7, and it fits perfectly that one goes in the center and 6 around.
So you don't want to stick one geranium in there and then 6 other plants around, because this geranium is going to be upset. It's going to miss its little buddies, and is going to need some other geraniums to play along in the basket. So do you think, like, if you had 3 geraniums in there and then maybe added some...
I think so. You just have to be careful that what you choose does not envelop the geranium or just overpower it, because
Like
they tend to shrink a little bit rather than
thrive. Or you could do a whole basket with geraniums,
Just
because
all
they're
different
so
colors.
beautiful. The colors, we've made lots of combinations like that, but you could do the geraniums and then we'll talk next about calibrachoa, but that's a beautiful one that will just hang over, and I don't think will interfere very much with the geraniums. And you get so many color options there, and that really cascades down, so you're getting some good height and some good trailers.
So when we talk about what our choices are, we'd like to be thinking of a taller plant for the center.
Size, color, texture,
That's what I always say, right? Size, color, texture, shape. And that is true. I still adhere to that.
I love it.
But we're going to have a center plant or something that gets taller than the others. Then some of the larger flowered plants, one of which could be the geranium, and another one is the Mandevilla.
Oh, everyone loves that.
Which is a blooming crazy plant. And it's just, we have lots of variety of different colors.
This is the beautiful crimson color. It's not in bloom yet, but this would be great in there because, as you can see, this one likes to, it's going to be a trailer, but it will also climb up. So you get a little bit of both, but I've used this a lot in baskets, and it's just amazing how it cascades and hangs down.
Yeah, no deadheading or anything. This is a really workhorse in the garden.
A win-win.
And the number 1 plant that we generally recommend is the dragon wing begonia. And you might be thinking of begonias for, that it's a shade plant, but this is not true. This is sun or shade. And this is a large umbrella type plant that will come up and arching over the basket, and it will not interfere with anything that's in the outer edge.
It may not look like amazing right now, but this is one that is spectacular. Great in the center, arches over, loads of blooms, and continues to perform all the way into October.
And another one that's quite popular with our customers is the Gora, which is technically a perennial, but we love to use it for the center because it's just kind of dances in the wind a little bit because it's very delicate, but yet it is a strong plant. And of course the old standby would be the spike plant. All right, which is just foliage.
Tried and true.
So, number one of the specialty plants for us is still the petunia, and this is your friend. This is
I love this one.
a plant that loves you back. It's a plant that performs, that needs, all the petunias are heavy feeders. That's one thing to keep in mind. But, you know, the reason it's a number one plant is because it outperforms all the others. So we have a wide variety of colors here, and the companion to that, of course, is the smaller flowered one. People used to call it mini petunias. It's really not that. Million bells, it's sometimes called. Also, calibrachoa is our correct name. So this,
If you say bells, we'll know what you're talking about. This is called Cardinal Star.
and this is a plant that has gone through a lot of changes in hybridizing, and it is a much stronger plant than it was years ago.
Great
This is a
punch.
plant that we use in the downtown baskets and the municipal baskets in Racine, and
Yellow's so
it
pretty.
will be blooming till late October.
And really, I mean, there's just no maintenance. I think that's what everyone loves is
Yeah.
that they just bloom their heads off, and they're just so easy.
And then our third plant in that group, I think probably would be Verbena, just because it's a little bit different kind of flower. It has all the little tiny florets, and again, much more heat tolerant than it used to be.
So as we're talking about that size, color, texture, and shape, you can see that we're changing it up here with different foliage and different flower shape for sure. All right.
And
here.
finally, then some of the smaller flowered ones would be Bacopa, like this,
That's always a good one.
and Diamond Frost, which is a type of euphorbia.
And Diamond Frost, I think, is even great putting it in the center of the basket. Because what happens is when you put this in the middle is that even though it's light and airy and elegant looking, it will kind of fill in other areas of your basket, and it won't take over, but it will fill in where your other plants are.
It's just like a little area. It's like using baby's breath in an arrangement.
Yes, yes.
And then finally the Lobelia.
It's just started blooming. And I love that because you get such a beautiful shade of blue. Nemesia I love. This is a great yellow option. This works really well, especially with purples, and oranges are such a big trend right now. All those like bright.
The real vibrant colors, the
colors.
purples, the hot pinks, the yellows. And then we've also got an amazing selection of foliage plants. And this is kind of a nice alternative to all of the flowers. And we'll start with the Vinca Vine, which was one of the most recognizable. And we have different varieties of Vinca, as well as the ivies. And
Now, Mom, are the ivies more, can they be sun or
they
shade?
can be sun or shade. And all of the vines can be. A Vinca vine grows in full shade as well.
And then we love the Creeping Jenny or the Lysimachia. Goldilocks. It has that nice chartreuse color without being too aggressive in the container.
We also have plenty of potato vine, and the thing about that is
Oops, that's
it is aggressive. It is very aggressive, and you're either going to have to keep it at bay, or you know, sometimes people will make a whole basket of just potato vine. We had some people do that last year, or use plants that are strong enough to hold their own. And finally, we have the Mizu that Kara's holding up. You want to talk about that?
I do.
I thought so.
So Mizu is a wonderful alternative to Vinca Vine. If you've used that before and you want to change it up, this has great variegation, but it feels like a succulent. It's very fleshy, but the great thing about that is it's very, now I'm afraid to tell people it's drought tolerant because I want to make sure that they
they
still,
water their
don't
basket.
forget to water your plants, okay? But this will be a little more forgiving in the heat. And then it gets this tiny little flossy little reddish cherry colored flower, which is kind of a nice bonus. So people have really liked that. I would say that has really been growing.
And it can trail 3-4 feet down the basket.
It's
so
incredible.
that's a wonderful thing about it. So would you like to make a
I would
sun?
like. Do you want to highlight?
Or do you want to do
yeah.
the shade
Should we
first?
do shade, or do you guys want to see a basket? Let's do. Maybe we'll do a sun basket, and then we'll do a shade basket.
All
So
right.
since we've been talking sun, let's do a little combination here.
Okay.
Right?
Got to keep the circulation going here in the
Yeah,
greenhouse.
fans are running. We're in obviously a working greenhouse. So again, this dragonwing begonia is a favorite of ours, sun or shade, so you can't go wrong there. But this is going to be the center of this one. And then I am very excited for color because we still aren't seeing very much color.
Oh, it's pretty gray today.
So I want to incorporate colors in here, but I also want to make sure I have good balance. So if I want to do...
While she's picking that out, I want to say that we do not want you to plant it one at a time. We want you to lay it out and look at it, analyze it, see if you like where they are. Maybe you're going to change things around and then plant, okay? That way you aren't
Or have us
disturbing-
come over and give the thumbs up.
Yeah, there's that.
But yeah, set it up like this. This is the best thing to do. I am picking this Super Tunia Honey. I love this one. So this one performed very well for me last year. And I'm not going to use the exact same one on the other side. But I am going to also use a petunia. This one is called the Royal Magenta on the other side. So that it's going to be cascading over in the same habit.
So if you have 6 around, it's a good idea to think of 3 groups of 2. So we have 2 petunias across from each other, and then 2 of something else, and then 2 of something else. That is a way to get a balanced basket so it doesn't look like it's hanging way over on one side and real short on the other side.
So I'm going to do the same with the verbena. I know it's tried and true because my mom told me that. And I love to put like the purple and the yellow together. I think that's very pretty. This is this one that was relatively new called that Sparkling Rose Verbena, which I think is very pretty over here. And then of course, I want to have a Calibrachoa. So I'm going to add a purple over here. And this is just called Grape Punch. And Grape Punch has a little larger flower. So I like that over here. And then I'm going to add a yellow over here. One thing that I want to point out is that a lot of the flowers have these bicolors, and I feel like you don't want to have too many of those in here because I feel like it can be kind of distracting. So being that I have this Sparkling Rose kind of bicolored one, I shied away from using any of the Calibrachoa that were that way too because I feel like, I mean, I suppose you could do it over here. It wouldn't be the worst.
You know, all the flowers look good together, and I think there are better combinations, and then there are some that aren't so great, but the most important thing is that you use the plant selection that we've kind of picked out for you so you have a tried and true basket. One thing that we didn't point out is that we will on when the days start, lantana, and there will be some other sun plants here as well. So if you have some favorites that you definitely want to use, that you always use, they're certainly available, and that would be something we can just go to the specialty house to get.
So I haven't, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and when you arrive, the height of the soil in the basket will be just perfect. So all you have to do is gently squeeze the pots like this and slide them out, and you can see the nice white roots. Now you want to hold it so it stays together, and if you just put it in the basket, it will be at the right height. It'll be all set up for you. And then all you need to do is fill in gently around those pots with the extra soil that's provided for you.
And you don't need to do any scoring of the roots or breaking it. We want to keep that root ball intact as much as possible. Okay, now let's pop over to shade. Now I love shade. I have a lot of shade at my house. So don't feel that you're limited in any way, because as my mom's bringing these out, you can see, especially with the new guineas, I mean, you get so many colors and different types of foliage, and a lot of these, like this one, is a sun patience, and this one is actually great for sun.
Yeah, it's real important to check the label, because what you think would be a shade plant sometimes will really tolerate full sun. So watch the labels.
Lots of begonias.
Begonias, yeah, they tend to have a front and a back. And when they have pointy leaves like this and a flat side,
that's the flat side.
That's the back of the plant, and all the flowers tend to hang off the pointy sides.
See the difference? This looks like the back, right? You guys can tell now. Front, back.
Okay, same thing here.
They got it. All right.
All right, my dear.
Sliding over to Shady Ladies. I would just want to highlight a little bit here that Terenia is a great one for the shade, because it has this beautiful blue flower. And then I'm going to grab some
ivy. I always love ivy in a basket. I think it's so gentle and so relaxing. And the problem with the shade plants is that there are very few trailing shade plants. Now, we do have this type of coleus, which is called lava rose, which is the best of the trailing coleus. There are 3 or 4 varieties. We only have one for this point in time, but it's the best. So this is lava rose, and you can use one material to follow another. If you look in the center of the leaf, you can see that it has this magenta as well as a soft yellow. So that helps you set your color pattern.
Isn't that pretty together? I just love it. All right. So maybe I'll do 3 greeneries. Is that okay with you?
Well, why don't we use 2 begonias and 2 impatiens, and then, well, should we do it all 6 different? You want to do that? How about this instead of another ivy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I liked this because we just talked about that.
All right.
So I'm like,
that's great. I love this. So you see how the colors are making sense together?
And then that's our Terenia on the back.
Now, if you absolutely, positively want one extra plant, let's just say that you love this and you want this on the back side, all you need to do is pay for an extra plant. That certainly can be done, and we're happy to accommodate you. Okay? But we are the plant police, and we will be checking your basket. And you do not want us to, at random, remove a plant. So you got to let us know.
Really important, because everybody likes to eat, right? So you got to make sure that you have and you do such a great job talking about Algo Plus.
Well, this is your new pet, okay? You have a pet for the summer, and we really have June, July, August, September, October. We've got 5 months of growing time. And when the baskets are here hanging up, they're on a drip system, which is what's above us. They are on a constant feed. So every time the water goes on, they get fertilized. And we would like you to at least come close to that. The best way to do that is with this water-soluble fertilizer and a capful. There's 100 capfuls in one of these containers, and that will, if you do it, we're recommending a minimum of once a week, okay? So technically that would take you through 100 weeks, but if you have several baskets, you probably use one of these in a year. And I always kind of overfeed, or you can, it's so gentle that you can use it every time you water. But we're not asking that you adhere to that. We just really want you to do once a week. And you will have results like you've never had before. I will guarantee that. I will stand behind that better than any other. This is the #1 fertilizer in Europe, and it's an organic fertilizer. It has all the trace elements. It is just, we've had situations where something wasn't blooming. You get results overnight with this. It is just an incredible fertilizer. So we have a lot of our customers that come back every year for the workshop, and they are believers. So we hope that you get on board and provide the nutrients that your plant needs. Especially things like, when people say, oh, my petunias got leggy last year. Well, they get leggy because they are just reaching out. They're just starving. So they are very heavy feeders. All of these new hybrids are demanding a lot of nutrients, and the soilless mix that we're in nowadays doesn't have any nutrients in it. There's a little bit of fertilizer in it, but that is not anywhere near what's going to you need to carry you through.
Right. And we all look better when we eat, I think.
Well, we're happier.
We all get a little bit bigger too. Okay, so that is how to make sure that you have great success with your basket. And the good news is, come with your friends, come together, have a fun night in the greenhouse. Everyone just loves it because it's warm in here, it smells good in here, you're breathing
wine.
Fresh air, and you get wine, okay? Wine is included with the workshop. We've never run out of wine before, so we want to make sure we get those creative juices flowing, and so that we'll be there with a cart full of wine to greet you at the workshop. So check out all the dates available. A lot of people do more than one, and all of our workshops we serve wine.
Yeah, we do.
So, doesn't have to be just the jumbo basket. There'll be several more on the way. Okay,
so
guys.
Then, before we leave, we want to say that we'd like you to come back and visit your basket. So come in and check on it, because if we have 800 baskets in here, it's really hard for us to look at each one and make sure that every plant has taken and is growing properly. So if you watch your own kid, then if something is going wrong, we can replace it early on. But if we don't know about it till May 30th, and you realize that 2 plants have died for some crazy reason, then it's hard to put something in place where those plants were and have them look like they're full grown. Right. So that's a reason for the visit.
And you want to come to Milligers more often, right? We want to see you more often. Okay, guys, we will see you at the workshop. We can't wait to be in the greenhouse with you.